Every singer struggles with confidence in their voice. But how can you finally learn to love your voice, even if you're convinced that you'll never be a great singer? I'll show you.
Let's go!
10 years ago, I'm taking my weekly voice lesson with my vocal coach, Gene. After 20 minutes of exercises, he says, "Okay, great. Now what do you want to sing?" I already know what I'm going to do. For years, I've been singing the song Say Yes, as performed by Elliott Smith. But if you know the song, you'll know that Smith sings with a really, really light, breathy, kind of angelic style voice. So when Gene asked me to sing it, I do my best Elliott Smith impression, just going as light and breathy as I possibly can. I'm in love with the world through the eyes of a girl who's still around the morning after. After 2 lines, Gene cuts me off and says, "I just have one quick question to ask you. How old are you?" I tell him I'm 25. That's when he hits me with, "So if you're 25, why are you singing like a 5-year-old girl?" Obviously, there's nothing wrong with singing like a 5-year-old girl. But his point was well taken. Why is it that as soon as I start imitating one of my favorite singers, my own true voice just goes out the window? I've been thinking about this for 10 years now while teaching over 1,000 students. What I've come away with is this. It's much easier to imitate your favorite artist than to sing in your own true voice. There's a kind of comfort in imitating other singers, and nearly every singer hates the sound of their own voice. But this even applies to famous singers. Check out this clip of Adele talking about her biggest fears as a performer.
So what's that fear?
That I'm not going to deliver. That I'm not going to deliver. That I'm not going to... that people aren't going to enjoy it. They're going to... that I'll ruin their love for my songs by doing them live.
Why is it so difficult to love your own voice? Why do we hate the sound of ourselves, even if we're just listening to our voicemail? I think the reason is very simple. There's kind of a gap between what we think we sound like and what we actually sound like. But the human voice is the only instrument that you can't see, you can't touch, and most unfortunately, sounds different to you than to everybody else. To put it another way, how can you really love an instrument that you can't really hear? How can you get confidence playing an instrument that you can't really touch? The easy answer for how to love your voice is to do lots of vocal training. By the way, I have lots of fantastic exercises and warm-ups that you can use to improve it. But I've also worked with singers that have been doing lessons for years and sound absolutely amazing to me, but they still hate the way that they sound. It doesn't matter what I think, they have their mind made up. I mean, what do you do with that? And if you think that having the adoration of thousands or even millions of fans makes all of that singing insecurity go away, think again. It can actually make it worse. According to fifth Beatle George Martin, John Lennon did not like the sound of his own voice. If he had written a song and did a tape of it for Martin's perusal, he would double track his own voice to help change the sound to satisfy himself. Think about your favorite singers. What we love about great singers like Johnny Cash, Freddie Mercury, and John Lennon is that they sound the most like themselves. But unfortunately, you have to do a lot of vocal training and have a lot of experience to like the way that you sound. But vocal training alone doesn't guarantee that you'll love your voice. It just means that your voice will work better. If you feel that you've always hated the sound of your voice, one of the best things that you can do is to create a vocal breakthrough mantra. Singing on your own is a breeding ground for insecurity and misinformation. Creating a vocal breakthrough mantra is designed to help you challenge some of your assumptions about your singing and help you overcome any of those beliefs that you have. For example, just because you have the thought that you have a bad voice doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. You may not like the sound of your own voice, but other people may love it. Bob Dylan has an objectively nasal and kind of ugly voice. Did that stop him from being the songwriter for a generation? Absolutely not. When we have a bad thought about our singing, it can make us think that it means something deeper about us, that we are broken just because our voice broke. So what I want you to do is the next time you're having a bad singing day, I want you to start noticing some of the thoughts that you're having about your voice and what you're making them mean. Then start to challenge them. Here's how I want you to do it. Try to close your eyes and maybe take some deep breaths. Now see if you can find the underlying assumptions that are making you feel this way. What have you been making a couple of sour notes mean about the rest of your voice? So for example, my voice broke. So that means that my voice is broken, or that I'm just not meant to sing high notes. Now I want you to open your eyes And I want you to start pushing back on some of these assumptions. For example, just because your voice broke, does that mean that your voice can never improve? Ed Sheeran, one of the best singers of our generation, has talked publicly about how bad he used to be and how important practice is.
When people say artists are born with talent, you're not. You have to really learn and really practice. This is me playing guitar and singing. I'm going to put it into my mic like this. Hold me. I'm addicted
The simple truth is that even though you may feel like you have an ugly voice, it will not stay that way forever unless you do nothing. Speak to yourself in a really nice way and offer a larger perspective that gives you wisdom. Then, once you look at some of these thoughts from a larger perspective, start to craft your own vocal breakthrough mantra. Something like this: I have a strong, beautiful voice inside of me. I can improve the way that I sound. Even now, I am taking steps to improve my singing abilities. I do not have to be perfect in order to be worth listening to. People are excited to hear me sing. I love my voice. Once you've created your mantra and you're looking at things from this larger perspective, I want you to think about one assumption you've been making about your voice. Is it absolutely true? Or is there a possibility that it might change? Share yours in the comments below.